Alright, what is going on YouTube? Adonis coming back at you with a brand new video. And today we are going to be rebuilding the Los Angeles Chargers. Without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the roster. Alright, so taking a look at the roster, right? We've got this is actually like a good team, right? It kind of like is surprising they were picking at number 5. Like you look at the team, obviously Madden is not indicative of real life. Of course it is not. But like looking at the offense, right? Especially with Joe Alt now, which we might move to right tackle at some point. But taking a look at the offense, right? We've got our quarterback, man. We've got like a left tackle. We've got like we have our guys, right? Like realistically, we've got guys that can develop. It's really interesting because we have like a solid core group, right? We've got like Gus Edwards, right? J.K. Dobbins at running back as well. Like receiver wise, I feel like it's probably one of the weaker parts of the team, along with tight ends. So maybe it's gonna be about getting Justin Herbert weapons, right? Because we know this kid is awesome, but like when you surround him with like DJ Chark, Quentin Johnston, freaking Josh Palmer, Lad McConkey, Brendan Rice, like we're not really setting the kid up for success as much. With that being said, 2 of those guys are going to be rookies heading into this season, right? Lad McConkey and Brendan Rice, who realistically that could have a big impact because Chark is not like Chark and Palmer and Quentin Johnston haven't really carved themselves out as alpha or X wide receivers on any of the teams that they've been on, right? Obviously Johnston and I believe Palmer have only ever been on the Chargers. Palmer's a great deep threat, right? Johnston's supposed to be kind of that like rack 'em up guy where he just like catches the ball and runs for 1 billion yards. And then we've got like DJ Chark, who's like such like he's good, but he's not great. He's not an alpha. He's not like a phenomenal receiver. And I'm really intrigued to see how this team can do with like this receiving core or these skill positions at the very least, right? Like at tight end, we got Will Dissly, we got Parham. There's a lot to be said about the kind of lack of supporting cast around Herbert. Now, obviously, you take it back a season, we're talking Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. In my opinion, that's a pretty strong supporting cast. With that being said, though, right, like this year is going to be really interesting in terms of Herbert's development to see what he can do with a kind of lackluster group like this. Defensively, it's kind of another like interesting group, right? Like Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack coming off the edge. Insanity. We got Derwin James, right? We got Alobi Gilman, I believe that is, right? Asante Samuel Jr. is coming into his 3rd or 4th year now, right? And then we look kind of at like Denzel Perriman's decent, right? We've got Junior Colson, who's a rookie, right? Who's probably going to be pretty decent, but we've really got like a lot kind of to improve on this team. Obviously, like looking at like our interior defensive line, gonna be a little bit rough, right? Like Puna Ford is kind of like the only big name. Obviously Morgan Fox is like decent, but he's 28, right? Like there's a lot to improve upon when it comes to this team, and I'm interested to see how we can do in year 1. It's an intriguing prospect of kind of rebuilding this team, right? We've got Bosa and Mack, who are kind of aging guys, and then we've got like Derwin, who's like the stud like dude that we want to keep around on the defense. Obviously offensively, we've got like Herbert, who we definitely want to keep around. Would like to see some development from Dobbins and Edwards, especially Dobbins, because he's great when he's healthy, or he was at least in college, but he can't stay healthy is the big issue in the NFL. So a really interesting group going into the season, right? Specialist wise, like at slot, I really want Lad to be getting touches. I think that's where he's gonna thrive. I think he's gonna be kind of a Cooper Kupp, Hunter Renfrow type. Yeah, he's like 6 foot, like 186, right? So like watching these videos coming out of like training camp and stuff, it's like, okay, this guy could be like a Hunter Renfrow. And if you guys remember, like Hunter Renfrow a couple seasons ago was lighting it up, dude. Like he was carving people up in routes. And that's kind of what I want from Lad McConkey, right? So I think Lad and then Brendan, you know, is going to be interesting. I do think I want to start Brendan Rice like over DJ Chark, in all honesty. I think DJ, like, and he's gonna just take a back seat on this team, realistically. Like, I don't see DJ Chark being that guy. I see Brendan Rice very much emerging in training camp as kind of a standout, and that's what I want to do, right? Because you gotta see, right? Like, you're not gonna see with DJ Chark is getting a little bit older. We're not gonna see him develop that much more. We want to see if Brendan Rice can actually develop. Well, that's kind of my thought process. It's gonna be an interesting season, man. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this this rebuild officially. And I will see you guys at the mid-season mark. All right, so at the mid-season mark, we are sitting at 2-4. I'm very intrigued to see, right, what is going on with this team. Like, why are we 2-4, right? Let's take a look at the stats. So Justin Herbert is not really like playing all that great, right? 10 TDs to 7 picks, 1,300 yards. It's interesting rushing wise. It looks like we're rushing it a decent amount. Gus Edwards, 6 touchdowns. JK's got 2. I would prefer to pass it a little bit more, to be honest. Receiving wise, Brendan Rice leading the team with 474 yards. Josh Palmer, then Ladd McConkey. And I don't really think this is like particularly surprising, right? Rice, Palmer, McConkey, and then Johnston are going to be like the guys going forward. Realistically though, like we're probably going to need an upgrade at wide receiver at some point when it comes to like running the ball, right? Gus and Dobbins are good, but like I would probably prefer Dobbins to be getting the bulk of the carries. Defensively, Khalil's got 3.5 sacks, Bosa's got 2. Like not really a lot from like a pressure standpoint, which is interesting. Interceptions wise, right? Christian Fulton's got 1. Denzel Perriman's got 1. Junior Colson has 1, which is awesome. Derwin James has got a pick as well. I think realistically what this team probably needs is a scheme change. Yeah, defensively and offensively, we're 24th in the league. When we have an 84 overall team, right? Like our team is strong, or 85 overall, my apologies. Our team is strong. We're just, I don't think we're taking advantage of those strengths. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and make some changes. I will see you guys at the end of the season. All right, so here we are at the end of our first season, and we have made the playoffs, right? Big turnaround from, I think we were 2-4 at the start, and now we are sitting closer to, or not closer to, we're sitting at 8-9, man. Awesome, right? Let's go ahead, let's take a look at the stats and see how we did. So Herbert obviously got rolling later in the season, which is great to see. Almost 30 touchdowns, 3,700 yards, pretty good. Rushing wise, J.K. Dobbins ended up eclipsing Gus Edwards big time, which is great, right? Kind of bringing a guy like J.K. Dobbins, he's had some injury issues early on in his career. You hope that he can kind of figure it out, right? And obviously injuries are not his fault. Like there's nothing you can do to control popping your Achilles or your ACL. But this is awesome to see, man. 5 TDs for J.K. and 10 for Gus Edwards, which is awesome. Receiving wise, the rookie Brendan Rice coming out with almost 1,200 yards, 6 TDs, averaging 70 yards a game is awesome, right? Josh Palmer right behind him. And then it looks like it really falls off. It looks like maybe Ladd McConkey did not get injured. Maybe he just got benched. But I mean, hey man, Josh Palmer and Brendan Rice, right? Josh Palmer's still very young. So if we could develop these two guys, right? And then Ladd McConkey or Quentin Johnston comes along in the slot, right? I think we'll be in a good position moving forward. Defensively, it looks like our guys turned up later in the season. Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, both having like pretty good production years, right? Poona Ford able to get 4 sacks is kind of crazy. Interceptions wise, our boy Derwin was balling. It looks like the defense really took a step up later in the year. Offensively, right, we changed around the scheme to a vertical zone run scheme. Defensively though, looks like we really struggled, man. Very interesting. Yeah, like points allowed. We're allowing a lot of points. We're allowing a lot of yardage defensively. So I'm intrigued to see how can we do in these playoffs. And we lost 21-13 in our first year in the playoffs, right? Which, like, I mean, hey man, like it's our first year, like no complaints here, right? Let's go ahead, let's sim to the off season, and I will see you guys there. All right, so we are now in the off season. We are taking Rashawn Slater's 5th-year option, of course. With that being said though, we are not re-signing anyone else, right? Gus Edwards, he's just too old, right? He's not gonna develop. We have JK. We'll probably bring in another back later in the draft, see if we can't find maybe a more elusive back potentially, and then the rest of these guys are kind of just whatever, right? So not a lot of players we have to bring back, which is awesome. And let's go ahead, without further ado, man, get into free agency and see what we can do. So interestingly enough, right, Pat Queen, one of the guys that I kind of consistently sign in some of my series, right? I do really like him, and he's available, and I think realistically, like getting Pat Queen at middle linebacker would be be huge for us. And middle linebackers are not very expensive, right? So we're going to go ahead and offer on Pat Queen. Now, could we bring in Chris Jones? For sure. Would he ever come here? Absolutely not. Like, no, he would not. So Patrick Queen ends up going to the New York Football Jets, which sucks, right? Because we really could have used him, honestly. I do think Javon Kinlaw being here is interesting. I am going to go ahead and offer, I'll offer him a pretty nice contract, a little 2-year something, and see if we can't get Javon Kinlaw. We have gotten Javon Kinlaw, pretty much an instant upgrade at the defensive tackle position, which is awesome. Taking a look at the final mock draft results, we are being projected to take a right tackle. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think realistically we will look to move Khalil Mack in the draft and see if we can't pick up one of these picks in the back of the first round. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the draft. I am very excited to see what we can do. All right, so here we go. We are picking at 19. Let's go ahead and check out what is on the board for us here. And I'll tell you what we probably could use is a cornerback. Could be someone that we look at, right? Lloyd Middlebrooks is 6'3" with elite excel, elite speed. This guy looks pretty decent. We are going to be picking Lloyd Middlebrooks at number 19 overall. Cornerback, normal dev, but he's got 95 speed. I do think that he is going to probably be pretty decent. And with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and try to trade up here. So we are looking for offers for Khalil Mack. I think this Isaiah Simmons offer is pretty interesting. And I think we're going to go ahead and take that trade for Khalil Mack, right? Isaiah Simmons, and we are getting a 4th and a 6th this year, right? So we shore up one of our positions of need, right? Middle linebacker was not a strong suit for us, and Simmons and Junior Colson can plug in right next to each other, right? So we are sending Corey Linsley and multiple late round picks over the next couple of years to the Cowboys for a first. Center was one of their biggest team needs, and we have filled that now. So we will be picking at 31. Let's go ahead and see what we can get, right? We've got a lot of positions where we could use help, right? And potentially a free safety could help us out with that, right? Like, looking, he's great. He's got pretty much great to good in a lot, but he's also got like B awareness, B zone, B hit power. I think a free safety could help this team out a lot. Let's go ahead and draft John Bart, hidden dev, free safety, and he's gonna have 88 speed coming out of Georgia. I think it's a great plug and play option for us. So I am looking at Mello Fulton in the second round right here. He's an elusive back out of Clemson. Looks like a pretty solid overall player. I think definitely like a good option behind J.K. Dobbins, especially with him being a little bit more injury prone. Mello Fulton could certainly help, right? So we're gonna go ahead and pull the trigger on Mello Fulton, elusive back out of Clemson. I'm very interested to see how he can do. So I'm sitting here in the third round, and I'm looking at this round 1 to 2 projected receiver that has fallen down the board. He's got elite acceleration and elite agility, but he's got F medium route and C short route, right? So he's an interesting prospect. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and pull the trigger here on Calvin Gross, and he is just a normal dev receiver, which sucks. And with that being said, we are gonna sim to the end of the draft and see how we did. So taking a look at the overalls, I think we definitely got one of the top players in the draft with Lloyd Middlebrooks. And then John Barton and Mello Fulton definitely do not look like bad players. Taking a look at the NFL as a whole, we get the second best player in the draft, which is awesome. It does suck that he only has normal dev, but it kind of is what it is. All right, so here we go. Getting into the regular season here, we are going to be setting our goal. We are making the playoffs. That is going to be our goal this year. I feel like we have improved a decent amount here, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, offensively, could potentially maybe trade for a wide receiver at some point, but taking a look at the lineup, we're gonna have Josh Palmer, Brendan Rice, Quentin Johnston. We got J.K. Dobbins in there, right? With Mello Fulton. Excited to see what he can do. Obviously, Herbert is our quarterback. Again, we traded away our center, so we've got Brad Bozeman stepping in. We're gonna see how we can do with him. Joe Alt, obviously superstar guard, which is awesome. On the defensive side of the ball, we've got a very strong secondary, I would say, right? Between Barton, Derwin James, right? We got Middlebrooks, we've got Hart, we've got Asante Samuel Jr., we've got Fulton, right? A pretty decent secondary. Isaiah Simmons should be able to perform well up the middle with Junior Colson, right? I think that's like a great combination of linebackers. Obviously, we brought in Javon Kinlaw in the offseason, so we're gonna see how he can do, man. I'm excited to see going into year 2 if we can maybe get back to the playoffs, because I think this is a very strong team heading into the start of the year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and sim to the mid-season mark, and I will see you guys there. All right, so here we are at the mid-season mark. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats. We are 3-4, right? So not a great record, not a bad record. It does look like we beat the Chiefs last week, which is awesome. So taking a look at the stats, Herbert is lighting it up. 14 touchdowns to 3 picks, about 1,700 yards on the season, which is awesome. Rushing wise, Dobbins is doing great. 400 yards, averaging 3.5 a carry. Not a lot of touchdowns on the ground. Mello Fulton not getting as many touches as we were hoping he would. Receiving wise, Josh Palmer is leading the team. Love to see it. Quentin Johnston right behind him. Will Dissly's getting involved. DJ Chark's got some catches. Brennan Rice has some catches with 3 touchdowns on the year. Mello Fulton's got a touchdown receiving, which is great. Dobbins has 2. So it looks like we are spreading the ball around a decent amount, which is awesome. Defensively, right? This does not surprise me that our sack production took a big dive this year, right? Not having Khalil Mack off the edge and just having Bosa is definitely going to affect the defensive line. Interceptions wise though, Isaiah Simmons and Asante Samuel Jr., 2 guys we would love to develop a bit more, are leading the team, which is awesome. Though neither of these guys have the sack production, they both have great TFL numbers, right, with Tuli Tuipulotu and Javon Kinlaw. So I have to imagine our run defense is playing decently. Offensive in yards, we are 4th in the NFL right now, right, which is not a surprise. Defensively in yards, we are 30th, right? So again, going to need to help the team win by continuing to upgrade the defense, right? And I realistically think over time, it's probably going to be bringing in a guy like an elite pass rusher, right? Khalil was just a little bit too old. His contract was huge, and it made sense to try and get some value back for him. Now we've got some guys that are ready to negotiate. We've got like Asante Samuel, Palmer, Christian Fulton, Will Dissly, Donald Parham, Morgan Cox, and then after that, Brad Bozeman, like, we really don't have like a lot of like crazy guys that we gotta bring back, but Asante Samuel Jr. will certainly be a player that we bring back. The same can be said with Josh Palmer. Okay. So we're going to have to work on that one a little bit more. Christian Fulton, welcome back to the team. I think we're going to let Dissly walk, and we will pick up Parham's contract right there. I think Morgan Fox as well we'll probably try to bring back. Perfect. Don't have a whole lot of money, right? And we really do want to keep Josh Palmer around. Going to be a little bit of an expensive player. So we might have to let like J.K. Scott and Dicker walk, which kind of sucks because they're both like pretty solid special teams guys. So obviously we will take a look at that, you know, at the contracts after the end of the season. We do have a dev trait upgrade. I don't know who this is. It's not showing up. Josh Palmer could be a superstar receiver. Let's just sim to next week and see if he gets it. I would be kind of surprised, but you never know, man. So it looks like we unfortunately lost the game and did not get the dev trait upgrade, and we lost by 1 point, which sucks. So Josh Palmer is still playing hard to get. We tried to negotiate with him right there. Gonna be a tough one. We're gonna have to offer him a very, very, very friendly contract, and he is our leading receiver, right? But without further ado, let's go ahead and sim to the playoffs, and I will see you guys there. So we finished this season with a 5-12 record, right? Which means we only won 2 games the entire rest of the year, right? Take a look at the stats and see what happened. It looks like Herbert really fell off from a touchdown and like interception standpoint later on in the season. Rushing wise, Dobbins had almost 1,000 yards, but again, not really able to punch in much on the ground. It looks like Isaiah Spiller and Kamani Vidal both had 4 touchdowns. Receiving wise, Palmer obviously our alpha wide receiver right now, which is interesting. Quentin Johnston got going, which is great. DJ Chark, right? Will Dissly. Brendan Rice really did not get the touches we would kind of like to see for him. Defensively, it looks like we got some good production from Bosa in the sack department. Morgan Fox, 19 TFLs, 14.5 sack season for that guy. Javon Kinlaw as well with 2.5 sacks on the season, but 14 TFLs. Interceptions wise, Isaiah Simmons had 5 on the season. Asante Samuel had 4. Christian Fulton able to come away with an interception. So offensively, we finished 24th in the NFL. And then defensively, we finished 19th. So really interesting regression offensively, right? Like as the season kind of went on. Taking a look at the lineup, again, DJ Chark keeps sneaking in here. Really would prefer for Brendan Rice to be the #1 receiver, and then we have Palmer and Johnson behind him. Again, this kind of comes up pretty often in these rebuilds where like the CPU reorders stuff, even though I have it turned off, as it looks like our right outside linebacker was a 69 overall finishing the season, which is bizarre. Barton's got star dev. Simmons has somehow regressed, even though he's like got 5 picks on the season, which is bizarre. Really interesting, right? From a kind of results perspective, but what it means for the team is that we're going to be picking high, and I'm hoping there's going to be some decent guys that we can go ahead and grab in free agency, right? And then we're going to have a pretty high pick, and we'll likely choose an outside linebacker, right? And we can see number 2 and number 3 overall projected picks are right outside linebackers, which is awesome. So, you know, really some ability here going forward to build the team up a little bit more while we have this window, while Herbert is still young, right? We do not want to waste this kid's career. So heading into the offseason, we have about 45 mil to go ahead and re-sign players, right? Definitely going to be probably overpaying for Josh Palmer, but receiver is kind of a huge position of need. I would really just like to knock that out. We're taking Zion Johnson's 5th year. We are probably going to be bringing back a couple of these guys, right? Brad Bozeman is definitely going to be a guy we bring back. I think we might have money left over for J.K. Scott and Cameron Dicker. We will see, but Josh Palmer is the kind of #1 guy that we gotta try and bring back right now. He's gonna test out free agency. All right, so wide receiver is a big need for us. Could we tag him? $29 million salary for 1 year for Josh Palmer. I think that's a little bit rich for my taste, right? It's not that he's a bad player by any means. It's just a lot for Josh Palmer. We are going to go ahead and bring back Brad Bozeman as well. JK is someone that I'd probably like to bring back. Yeah, awesome. And then as well, Cameron Dicker, right? 2 guys that are like pretty decent at special team spots. That means we would have money to franchise tag Josh Palmer, but realistically, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what all the players that are available in free agency are looking like, right? There may be a really good receiver where we could sign him instead of Josh Palmer. So without further ado, let's go ahead, hop into the free agents and see what's available. Keenan Allen is available, which is an interesting one. So in my mind, we are immediately going to be offering on Josh Palmer. I think he's like a pretty good receiver, right? He doesn't want to be back, but like, dude, I would like you to be back, you know? We've also got like Charvarius Ward is in here, Simmons is in here, Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio are both in here as well. Cam Robinson at tackle is interesting. We could plug and play him at right tackle, and I think he would be an upgrade. So we will go ahead and offer on him, and we're like really not going to have much money left if these 2 guys sign. So we were able to bring back both Cam Robinson and Josh Palmer. Love to see it, man. Obviously had to overpay Palmer a little bit, not as much as a franchise tag would have been, but we're able to bring back those 2 guys, and that really doesn't give us much money to improve the team, you know, outside of the draft, right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the draft and see what we can build out. All right, so we are picking at number 4. Let's go ahead and advance the picks. We've got David Burr. One of our linebackers goes off the board. Courtney Lawson, right end out of Notre Dame. And Carl Spencer, a speed rusher out of Alabama, is right here for us. Has for most stats, it looks like great to elite. He's got A awareness, A finesse moves. I think it's kind of hard to pass up on. We are going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Carl Spencer, hidden dev, 84 speed. Speed rusher out of Alabama. I think it's a great plug and play option opposite of Joey Bosa, a spot that we definitely needed heading into this season. Here we are picking at pick number 4 in the 2nd round. I'm seeing Jeremy Radigan out of Texas A&M, a vertical threat tight end, right? A solid to great, it looks like, in most spots. He is highly ranked within his 40, right? He's got A break tackle, B medium route, B deep route. His pass blocking and run blocking is whatever. But if we're looking for a vertical threat to plug into this offense, I think that we're going to go ahead and have to draft Jeremy Radigan. Welcome to the team. Normal dev tight end, right? But we can plug him in with Donald Parham, and I think it's going to be an immediate impact impact player for this team. So here we are in the third round. We've got 2 round 1 projection wide receivers right here. I'm intrigued. I am intrigued to say the least, right? I'm seeing, this guy does not look good. Josh Kerr is solid to elite in a lot of stuff, and his 40 is the thing that he's most solid at. He's got B deep route running with a spectacular catch, running a 4.29 40. Josh Kerr, welcome to the team. Hidden Dev 97 speed receiver out of The Ohio State University. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to bring us to the end of our draft. We're going to let the CPU take care of the rest of it. And I will see you guys at the end to recap the draft and see how he did. All right, so taking a look at our draft recap. Carl Spencer was our best pick with Josh Kerr, and then Radigan was like whatever down the board, did not have a lot of picks this year. Taking a look at the NFL as a whole, not a particularly loaded draft. It looks like Amari Saunders, 79 overall, the highest rated player. And it looks like we were able to come away with a pretty decent haul in a great deep threat option for Herbert, an all right tight end option, and then a significant bump at the pass rushing position at that right outside linebacker. So without further ado, let's go ahead. We'll sim until the start of the regular season, and we'll go over the roster for our third season, our second to last season. So we got to turn things up right now. All right, so here we go, getting into the regular season, right? This is the squad that we are rocking and rolling. We got Josh Palmer, Josh Kerr, Quentin Johnson is going to be kind of our starting group, right? We also have Brendan Rice, of course, Lad McConkey. I think receiver is definitely becoming better as time goes on within this rebuild. Taking a look defensively, again, secondary, extreme strong point of this team, right? Between Barton, we've got like Alohi Gilman, Derwin James, we've got Asante Samuel, Fulton, Middlebrooks, right? Hart as well. And then defensive line or front seven, right? We're hoping that Simmons and Colson can continue to be decent for us. And then I'm really hoping with the introduction of Spencer at outside linebacker, we will be a lot better of a team this year. So setting a season goal, obviously we are going to be aiming for the playoffs. We are starting to hit our window. We've improved at key points on this team. We gotta perform now, right? Without further ado, we will sim to the midseason mark, and I will see you guys at week 8. All right, so at the midseason mark, we are sitting at 4-3, which is pretty decent, I would say, especially compared to the last couple of seasons, right? But we have seen this before where we start hot and then we kind of flame out, right? Herbert having another pretty solid year, 11 TDs to 4 picks with 1,800 yards. It looks like we are scoring a little bit more on the ground, right? With 8 total touchdowns, which is awesome, right? J.K. Dobbins leading the team with 429 yards, averaging only 3.3 a carry, which is not awesome, but I mean, it's workable, right? Receiving wise, Josh Palmer is continuing to be our number 1 receiver with Quentin Johnson right behind him, and then Josh Kerr, the rookie out of The Ohio State University, long of 74 yards, right? We were kind of expecting that from him, averaging about 14 yards per catch, just under Josh Palmer's average, which is awesome. Defensively, right? Joey Bosa leading the team with 5.5 sacks, Morgan Fox right behind him with 3.5. Our rookie Carl Spencer with only a half sack, which I don't love. And then we've got 3 picks on the season, right? So offensively, again, 6th in total yards. Defensively, 22nd. So we are improved from last year. We just got to maintain it throughout the end of the season. And without further ado, guys, I will see you guys in the playoffs. All right, ladies and gents, we have made the playoffs back again at 9-8. Love to see it, right? Taking a look at the stats, Herbert, again, not breaking 30 TDs on the season, but at 4,200 yards. That is, I think, about the best that we've seen from him. Rushing wise, JK eclipsing 1,100 yards with 9 TDs on the ground, and oh man, everyone got scoring touchdowns through the ground game, which is awesome. Receiving wise, Palmer and Johnston both above 1,000 yards on the season, which is awesome. Josh Kerr coming in under 700 yards, but with 6 touchdowns for a rookie. That is certainly not a bad result. Parham with 590 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns, which is great. Defensively, Joey Bosa balled out with 12 total sacks. And then we had some good sack production behind him. Carl Spencer finishing with a 1.5 sacks on the season. Wanted a little more out of him. Interceptions wise, though, John Barton got 2, Isaiah Simmons got 2, Asante Samuel got 2. And then a lot down the board. Love to see it. TFLs, Huna Ford. Big man clogging up the middle for us. Love to see it, right? So offensively, we finished 7th in the NFL in yards, and defensively, we finished 21st. So, I mean, not bad. Definitely improvements from last season. Let's go ahead and advance a week and see if we can't get past the Baltimore Ravens in the wildcard round. So we were able to beat the Baltimore Ravens in the playoff in the wildcard round, which is a bit of a surprise. Honestly. I mean, not what I was expecting from this team, but hey man, let's see what we can do against the New York Football Jets now. And just like that, we are in the AFC conference game. Love to see it. Isaiah Simmons had 14 tackles and a pick on the day. Oh my goodness. Herbert lit it up. Got sacked 5 times, which is not great, but hey man, what a run that we are making right now. Without further ado, let's go ahead, sim to the next week, see if we can't make the Super Bowl. And we win! We are in the Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, I am going to hop in for this game. We do have a new injury. Joe Alt, uninjured, which is great. DJ Chark, dislocated ankle, and Rashawn Slater with a partial PCL, which means that at left tackle, we are not going to be particularly great. All right, guys, it is Super Bowl week. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the game. We did actually have an Offensive Rookie of the Year in Josh Kerr, which is awesome. Love to see it. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carl Spencer ranked 7th in that voting, which is great. Love to see it. Doesn't look like we won any other awards, but hey, man, no complaints here. With a Rookie of the Year, the zooming wide receiver out of the Ohio State University, right? Can't complain, man. And it does look like Josh Kerr has gotten superstar development, man. I love to see it. From a guy that kind of fell down in the draft, right? Took a risk on him, but oh my goodness, man. He is definitely an integral part of this team behind Johnston and Josh Palmer. Love to see it, man. All right, so here we go. Without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into this Super Bowl. Of course, we are just going to play the moments, right? And kind of do it that way. So here we go, hopping in for the first time. We are going to be on the 31-yard line going in. I'm seeing Quentin Johnston on the outside, man. Might have to chuck it up to that big old kid right there. Just kidding. I'm seeing, is that our kid Josh Palmer? Love to see it wide open over the middle of the field. Just like that. It is a first down. We are going to skip the red zone alert. We are able to come away with a touchdown, but our defense does need some help right here. With the Cowboys putting a decent drive together, looks like they have a superstar development running back. Oh, we were all over that with a Alohi Gilman. Love to see it, man. TFL. Down on the 14-yard line. Loss of 7 right there. All right, here we go. We're going to be on our free safety, Barton, who we drafted a couple years back. Oh, as they're throwing to the sideline, and Asante Samuel Jr. locking down right there. Love to see it, man. As you guys can see, we do have some injuries in this Super Bowl, right? Rashawn Slater, our starting left tackle, not available for this game, unfortunately. Because we're going to be here on Alohi Gilman. I do like him at this kind of robber middle linebacker spot, as they are an empty. We're going to have to watch the middle. We're going to have to watch the middle. We are lurking, and Dak Prescott has to throw it away. Sack pressure getting to him right there. Did not want to take it and potentially fumble. And just like that, we are probably just going to be up 7-3, but love to see it, man. So offense is absolutely churning down the field right now. We are hopping in. It is a 3rd down and 5. We're going to put Quentin Johnston on a slant right here, see if we can't get him open. Oh, I'm seeing J.K. Dobbins out of the backfield. Going to make the catch. Love to see it down to the 10-yard line. Offense is firing right now. And we were able to get in the end zone. The Cowboys score right back, and we are in a shootout right now, ladies and gentlemen. Coming here 5 wide on 3rd down and 7. Very interesting play call, I will say. As I'm seeing, I believe that is our rookie maybe, coming open late over the middle. Love to see it. And that is actually Brendan Rice. All right, able to score a touchdown right there. 2-minute drill. Let's see if we can throw a drive together, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we go. We're gonna be looking for some guys coming open late. Donald Parham Jr. streaking over the top down the field. Gonna call a timeout right there. Don't want to burn too much. Love to see it, man. All right, here we go. 1st and 10. We got to try and get in field goal range if we can. Oh, as I saw, oh my God, we just hit our left tackle in the head. Herbert coming under a little bit of stress right there. As we're gonna go with this dagger concept, I might be looking for Brendan Rice open down the field. Kind of depends what they are looking like. Oh, I saw Brendan Rice was so wide open down the field, man. And we're going to see if we can't hit a deep shot with either Palmer or Johnston on this play. We absolutely had him streaking. Is that Josh Palmer open? That is not going to be open, unfortunately. Swatted away and not able to do anything with this 2-minute drill. All right, so offense able to drive down the field and score. Dallas is coming back. Oh my goodness, the offense is firing on all cylinders in this game against this Cowboys defense. And with a little bit over 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it is looking pretty good for us. I will say, do we have a touchdown right there? We do, and that is the rookie Radigan across the field. One of those crazy throws that only Justin Herbert could make. We are gonna skip the onside. Third down alert. 3rd down and 9. Here we go with a little bit over 2 minutes left in the game, ladies and gentlemen. We have to lock in right now, as this could be the drive for the game. I see our rookie wide open, and DeMarcus Lawrence gets injured right there. We were able to convert the first down. Ladies and gents, that should be the game, right? We should be able to just win this one out. Love to see it, man. Winning the Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Chargers. Amazing, amazing game. Looking at the player stats, dude, both Dak and Justin Herbert lit it up. Over 300 yards for both quarterbacks. Rushing wise, not a lot of rushing, of course. Receiving wise, CD was leading both teams. Brendan Rice had some catches in there. Juju's on the Cowboys now. Parham got going as well. What a game, man. Defensively, Bosa was able to get a sack. Javon Kinlaw was able to get a sack. Parsons was able to get a sack and a half. No interceptions. But hey, man, we are able to win the Super Bowl 31-41. And usually I do these for 4 seasons, but I feel like that's the perfect way to go ahead and bring this rebuild to an end, right? It's if Quentin Johnston can develop, if Josh Palmer can develop, right? If we can get our star quarterback some help, like at the wide receiver position, get him a number 3 wide receiver that's got some turn and burn speed, then ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you've got the world at your fingertips for this Chargers team. Absolutely loved making this for you guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys would like to see next. This was a blast. We won the Super Bowl, baby. Love to see it. I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.